Check and see if this is all good. I told Greg I'd pray to give him a chance to get back there to get things sorted out. The preparations are done. The people, they're sitting. The flowers are just right. The music begins. Heads turn to look to the back of the church. And slowly, the bride walks to the front. Words are spoken, and life changes with the simple words, I do. Marriage. Who doesn't like going to a wedding, being part of a special ceremony, seeing loved ones connect in a meaningful way, bringing two lives together as one? Tuxes and gowns and flower girls and ring bearers, smiles and tears of joy, friends and family, and food and gifts and music and dancing. Weddings are an amazing celebration of love. Proverbs 18:22 reminds us that he who finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord. The wisdom of Proverbs cautions us to take a great deal of care with whom we cement a marriage relationship. That's because marriage can either be a little taste of heaven on earth or a real dose of hell on earth, depending upon whom you choose to get married to. We know that it's the Lord's will for people to have a mate if they desire one. In the beginning, God created Adam. God himself made this statement: "It is not good that man should be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him." Sadly, these days, more and more people are getting married till death do us part, but with a proviso that it's realistically 3 to 5 years or until someone better comes along. The act of finding the right person isn't taken seriously. Have you heard this radio ad recently?
I love my beautiful brand new divorce. I was jealous of my friends who were smiling again after their divorces. But now that I've got a divorce of my own, I'm gonna be so happy. I wake up every morning and suddenly remember I'm divorced. And that puts a big smile on my face for the rest of the day.
Divorce happily ever after. All the resources for happy divorces. DivorceAngels.ca.
It's a real commercial. There's 3 or 4 of them in the series. The notion of for rich or for poor, in sickness and in health, in the good times and bad, till death do us part, is often a fairy tale idea. Unrealistic, something invented by Walt Disney. But does it need to be unrealistic? Is happy ever after something that can truly be found? I'm not suggesting happy all the time, but happy ever after. It doesn't take a lot of research to find out what makes a successful marriage. Pick up any magazine or read a blog, and you'll find advice. The 5 keys to a healthy marriage, or the top 10 reasons it won't work. Blogs tell a woman the biggest signs her man is cheating. Insight is given to a man as to why their wives have become cold and distant. On MSN.com this past week, I found this article. 10 super common reasons couples in long-term relationships break up. Some of these may or may not surprise you. Here's the list. I'm checking who's the crowd here. No sex. All kids are gone. Money issues. Empty nesting. Bad communication. Not compromising. Cheating. Not enough in common. 8, get this. Some really hard stuff happens and it just doesn't work anymore. One person is a total mess. And number 10, not being kind and generous with the other person. Can you relate to any of these 10 things? Who hasn't had money issues during their relationship or given someone the silent treatment? Did you marry a slob? Did you date a slob thinking you can change him once married, ladies? We're told over and again that opposites attract, but really, that's best suited for magnets. The key is similarity. It's compatibility. These are the keys to consider when you look for a marriage partner. What does the book of Proverbs have to say about us choosing the right marriage partner? It has lots to say, and it's very straightforward, strong, and colorful in its language. Look at these verses. Better to have a dish of vegetables where there is love than juicy steaks where there is hate. Or it's better to live alone in the desert than with a quarrelsome, complaining wife or husband. I didn't write the Bible. I'm just saying what it says. Naturally, healthy differences are important. But in the end, there has to be more similarities than differences if you have a realistic opportunity to make your marriage work. Till death do you part. There are some core compatibilities you need to work out and understand before you tie the knot. And let me suggest 5 of them to you this morning. Why 5? Because there are 5 steps for me to tie this rope into a nice, tight knot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 become 1, and it's tight. It won't come apart. And while the context of this message is for those considering marriage, let me say this to you who are already married. Before you check out and start thinking about lunch plans and gardening, this is relevant information whether looking to get married or if you've been enjoying a wonderful marriage for many years. You may find a nugget of important truth in here in order to help you keep the knot tied. And if your marriage is strong and glorious, then ensure you share your experience with others. The very first area of compatibility and similarity you need to consider, naturally, is your relationship with God. Marriages have enough struggles without having to struggle under the weight of diverging views of God and what He expects and what He demands of us. As a society, we're told to never talk about religion and politics when out with others. This is common knowledge because these two topics are very divisive. If this is the case, then, think how difficult a marriage can be if only one is a believer. Proverbs 19:23 reads like this: "Fear of the Lord gives life, security, and protection from harm." So, if knowing God gives life, security, and protection, then one of the keys to building a successful marriage is that the two people involved share a mutual understanding and acceptance of God. Sharing concepts of a spiritual nature should allow for more openness and comfort, trust, and understanding. The Word says that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and every marriage needs wisdom. Can a Christian and non-Christian succeed in marriage? While all things are possible, we need to heed the words from 2 Corinthians 6:14. "Do not be yoked together with unbelievers. For what do righteousness and wickedness have in common? Or what fellowship can light have with darkness?" The Message has it this way: "Don't become partners with those who reject God. How can you make a partnership out of right and wrong? That's not a partnership. That's war. Is light best friends with dark?" You may be sitting here thinking to yourself, was Paul having a bad day when he wrote those words? I happen to be in love with a person who's not a Christian. What's wrong with marrying a person who is not a believer, as long as I love them? But those who say that are most often coming to church on their own, abandoned by their spouse, because they don't share the same spiritual values. As that happens over time, Christians begin to fall away from their faith. Sure, there are exceptions, but they are precisely that, exceptions. When one person places Christ at the center of their lives and the other person doesn't, it produces deep dissonance in the relationship. Conflicting values is surely a recipe for problems. Proverbs 11:3 says this: "The integrity of the upright guides them, but the unfaithful are destroyed by their duplicity." The second great factor, then, in choosing the right marriage partner is character. I read about this guy that met an old college classmate. They went to a nearby coffee shop and talked about old times together. "How is it that you never got married?" asked one to the other. "To be perfectly honest," answered the friend, "I spent years looking for the perfect woman. In Barcelona, I met a very beautiful and extremely intelligent woman, and for a short time, I thought I'd found the woman of my dreams. Then I discovered she was quite proud and egotistical. Then I met a woman in Boston who was at first outgoing and generous, but then I found out she was flighty and irresponsible. I continued my search, but always found something missing in the woman I was attracted to. Then, incredibly, one day I met her. I actually met the woman of my dreams. She was beautiful, intelligent, kind, generous, and had a great sense of humor. In short, she was perfect." "Well then," replied his friend, "what happened? Why didn't you marry her?" To which he replied, "Because I soon discovered she was looking for the perfect man." The fact is, we're never going to find a perfect man or a perfect woman to marry. We come as a mixed bag of things, some good and some not so good. But the most important thing is to be a man or woman of character, to be a person of honesty and integrity. You can't build a successful marriage on anything less than that. If you are not experiencing that right now from that significant person in your life, then please get these values in place. My divorce made me re-examine my life. It made me look deep into who I was and who I let others believe I was. I needed to find the truth, likely somewhere in the middle. And when I began to date again, it wasn't until I was ready to be honest with myself so that I could be honest with the one I was with. The third area of importance is emotional health. The great preacher, Jonathan Edwards, had a daughter with an uncontrollable temper. A young man from the college of which he was president fell in love with her and approached Edwards to ask if he could marry her. Edwards abruptly said, "No, you can't have her." "But I love her," said the man. "You still can't have her," said Edwards. "But she loves me," the boy said. "You still can't have her," said Edwards. "Why?" "Because she's not worthy of you." "But she's a Christian, isn't she?" the young man said. "Yes," said Edwards. "But the grace of God can live with some people no one else could ever live with." When you choose a marriage partner, you're choosing a whole set of variables. That person you take by the hand and walk through the park with, the one who looks so irresistible by candlelight, grew up in another family of imperfect humans, different from your imperfect home. That person comes to you with all sorts of emotional baggage, some of it good, and some of it very harmful and destructive. Therefore, the writer of Proverbs says, "A prudent person foresees the danger ahead and takes precautions. The simpleton goes blindly on and suffers the consequences." Before you tie the knot and choose someone to be your lifelong mate, you need to spend lots of time getting to know each other. You need to be open and honest with each other about such things as abuse, addictions, difficulties with parents or siblings, debt issues, problems you've encountered at work or school, anything that may have an impact on your marriage. Let's watch this clip from an old TV show.
Lousy. That's nice. Oh, boy, Ma, there were 1 million people at Kressler's today, and all of them were at the cosmetic counter. Ma, what are you doing here?
I'm setting the table.
Yeah, but look what you did. You got a knife here, 2 forks and a spoon, and then here you got a spoon, 2 forks and a knife, and then there you got 2 spoons and 2 knives, and over there you don't have anything.
That ain't right, is it?
Okay, Ma, what's on your mind?
Archie.
That'll do it.
He's having a fit. He says he don't want my cousin Estelle and Ralph coming to visit us next week, and I already asked them.
Well, how can he say that? And when you and he went to Philadelphia to visit them, they showed you a really great time.
Well, he says that it's easy for them to be nice to him because they like him, but it's hard for him to be nice to them.
Ma, what are you going to do if you've already invited him?
Oh, I wrote him a letter. I said the furnace was broke down and the plumbing didn't work and the house was being painted.
Ma, how could you lie like that?
Archie told me to. But I tore the letter up because as soon as I read it, I could see right through me.
Well, I'm glad you did, Ma. You know, it isn't fair. Stella is your favorite cousin, and if you want him here, you should have an equal say about it.
We did. I said they could come, and Archie said they couldn't.
Well, then you should have another say and tell him Estelle and Ralph are coming, period.
Oh, I can't do that, Gloria, because Archie already said case closed.
But, Ma, what kind of a marriage is it when one partner's always giving the orders and the other one always has to obey?
Wow. The word obey was in our marriage ceremony.
Well, you could have taken the word obey out.
The minister asked us if we wanted it in, and Archie said yes as often as possible. But I don't always give in to Archie.
Oh, no.
Gloria, our marriage may not be perfect, but it works. And my father always said, if something works, don't fix it.
The bunkers. Know who you're marrying before it's too late. A colleague of mine shared a story with me. She works in planned giving, working with people who have told us that they've given a donation to the Salvation Army in their will. She had a call from this donor, a 68-year-old woman, and called and said, I need to change our will. We're getting a divorce. My colleague, stunned, said, may I be so bold as to ask what happened? And she said this, I married him for better or worse, not for lunch. I can't take it anymore. Know who you're marrying. There's a book called The 5 Love Languages by Dr. Gary Chapman. This book has had a significant impact on me. When Mia and I started dating, I gave her a copy and asked her to read it. I wanted to know her love language. I wanted to know what made her tick. I wanted to know what made her feel loved. Was it acts of service? I could do more things for her. Time? I could make sure we had lots of quantity time together. Did gifts make her feel loved? No. And I like shopping. Too bad for me. Maybe it was words of affirmation. I could certainly spend time building her up with words. Physical touch? I can handle that one too. But I wanted her to know about those things about me as well. I've learned a lot of lessons from my divorce, and while I'm very far from perfect, and yes, I know this is being recorded, I'm glad that Mia knows that she has a husband that works hard at being the best husband he can be. Understanding your partner at the beginning or during a marriage is vitally important. If you're married, don't take it for granted. Keep the knot tied tight. Invest in your partner and cultivate emotional health. The fourth area of great importance is communication. Do you communicate well? Or do you just exist with one another? What famous TV couple are you more like? The Huxtables, Lucy and Ricky, Ward and June, or Alan Peck Bundy? Perhaps this other famous TV couple from All in the Family.
Ma, you can't just keep things bottled up inside of you. It's not good for you. You gotta get them out. That's what Michael and I have been trying to do lately. Like this morning, I was really mad at him. But he had to go off to school, and I had to go to work, so we agreed to put off our argument until tonight.
You mean you and Mike make appointments to have fights?
Sort of. It's what psychologists are calling fair fighting. Michael brought home a book on it. You know, you and Daddy ought to try that.
Fair fighting?
Yeah, they're telling people to get things out in the open. You know, let off steam, Ma. Because when you hold things inside and you bottle them up, it's called gunny sacking. And that's not healthy. Some couples are even taking lessons in fighting.
Well, I don't think Archie needs lessons.
Home.
Ah, he's here.
Hi, honey. How was your day?
Do you care, Michael? Do you really care?
Can't wait to get started, can you? All right, what did I do last night that was so terrible, huh?
I was telling you about a problem I had at work, and once again you fell asleep on me.
Gloria, I am always home by 6 o'clock. We have all evening to talk. Why do you wait till we get into bed before you start talking?
Because that's the only place I can get your attention.
Funny. You got my attention. I'm here. Well, what's the problem?
It's too late. I had to solve the problem all by myself, no thanks to you.
I don't believe this. You're angry at me because while I was asleep, you solved the problem? That's dumb, Gloria. That's just plain dumb.
Now, don't call me dumb. That's hitting below the belt.
Hi, Mike.
Besides, our problem is not the point. The point is, Michael, I could put a strange woman in the bed with you and you'd never even know the difference.
Yes, I would. I wouldn't fall asleep.
You're insensitive, Michael. You're an insensitive, selfish man.
Would you two mind holding up your fight appointment until after dinner?
You know, Michael, there used to be a time
Gloria,
when we
Gloria,
got any-
hold it. I think your mother's got a point. I fight much better after I've eaten.
Well, I don't. And you know the rules. Once we start, we've got to finish.
You mean they got rules now for family fights?
Well, yeah, Ma, that's why they call it fair fighting. And one of the main rules is no hitting below the belt.
Oh, you shouldn't hit nowhere.
No, Ma, it just means that you're not supposed to talk about anything that your partner is sensitive about. Like, I'm not supposed to mention the fact that I'm working to support Michael.
Careful,
You
Gloria.
know that I'm the breadwinner and he's the freeloader.
Gloria.
Oh, Michael, I'm just telling Ma what I'm not supposed to call you. Why, I never even think of you as a freeloader, honey.
See, Ma, we all have a weak spot. Like in Gloria's case, it's her education.
Watch it, Michael.
I'm not supposed to bring up the fact that I am a college man and she's only a high school graduate.
Okay.
I can't say things like this is too complicated for you, Gloria. This is way over your head.
You're cutting it close,
So
Siddick.
when we have an argument, I have to use simple words so she can understand.
Foul! Foul! That's hitting way below the belt.
Well, what about freeloader, huh? Don't you think freeloader's hitting below the belt?
I don't think I like this kind of fighting.
All right. Freeloader was rotten.
It's rotten.
All right, I'm sorry. But are you sorry for falling asleep on me last night while I was talking to you?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah?
Yeah. I promise. From now on, I'll listen to every word you say. I'll never sleep when I'm listening to you. As a matter of fact, if you talk in your sleep, I'll wake up to listen to you. Okay?
Oh, I like the way it ends up.
We laugh at things like that. It's comedy. We're supposed to laugh. But who finds it uncomfortable to see that interaction with people? It happens all the time. If I've learned anything about marriage, it's that communication is key to success. We hear that a lot, but I don't think many take it seriously. Most problems start in marriage when people stop talking with each other in an open and honest way. I have a number of people in my circle who have marriage problems, some working it out, and some who aren't. And the common theme is this: we stopped talking to each other. We couldn't carry on a civil and sensible conversation with each other without getting into some sort of argument over money or the kids or something. Proverbs says, knowing what is right is like deep water in the heart. A wise person draws from the well within. See, the thoughts and purposes of a man are hidden deep in his breast like deep water in a well. Hard to fathom and hard to get. But a man of understanding will draw it out. One who is intelligent and understands human nature and through good questions and remarks draws out the hidden thought. We know what's right. We know how to do things well. We know how to do things poorly as well, as the video shows. Make sure you talk with each other about the deep things of the heart and draw deeply from the well within. The fifth point is this: physical attraction. In the book of Genesis, we read about Jacob. He was far from perfect, a real schemer, a manipulator, and very deceptive. Because he had cheated his brother Esau out of his birthright, he fled. And in the process, he met and was immediately attracted to his future bride, Rachel. The Bible says he kissed her and began to cry for joy. Men, who cry for joy when you kiss your wife? He cried for joy. All of you should put your hand up. I'm just saying. In fact, he was so attracted to Rachel and so desperately desired for her, for his wife, that he served on the family farm of his uncle for 7 years so he could have her. But it says this: Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but they seemed like only a few days because of his love for her. Love at first sight. Some say it isn't real. I know what Jacob was feeling. The first time I met Mia, I knew right then and there that she was the one. Oh, no. Our first date kept us together for 8 hours. And my drive home to Pickering was all I could do was smile. Many Christians don't like to talk about physical attraction as they think it's too superficial. But it isn't only a fact of life. It's the way God made us. There has to be a physical attraction to the person you are thinking about spending the rest of your life with if there's any chance of the marriage succeeding. Attraction cannot be and must not be the most important thing, but it is an important aspect of choosing a partner. There's nothing wrong or sinful about sex or sexual attraction. It's something God planned and placed within us right from the beginning. Proverbs says, "Bless your fresh flowing fountain. Enjoy the wife you married as a young man, lovely as an angel, beautiful as a rose, and don't ever quit taking delight in her. Never take her love for granted." We need to get some advice. The writer of Proverbs counsels us to get all the advice you can, and you'll succeed. Without it, you'll fail. You don't have to listen to what I've said this morning, but if you're a professing Christian, you do have to listen to God. Don't make the mistake of making such an important decision on your own. Call your friends around you. And last week, we talked about having the right friends with you. Have them around you and talk to them about it. Pray about it. Work at making yourself better and care for the one you're with. When it comes to most things in life, the wisdom of Proverbs prevails. Pay attention to its wisdom to help you live well and live right. The best way to ensure that you will take the right partner for life and will live a rich and fulfilling marriage is to make Jesus Christ the head of your home. Why is that? Because the attitudes of Jesus Christ, servanthood, humility, compassion, understanding, and abounding love, is the stuff that makes for good marriages. The attitudes of Jesus are exactly what you need in a marriage partner, and they're only going to have them if you know Jesus personally. You're only going to be able to share those qualities with the one you love if you have a living and dynamic relationship with Him. If we don't pay attention in choosing your partner or in the ongoing development of the relationship, things will begin to tug at the knot. And this once strong knot loses its strength. Other priorities creep in. There's a breakdown in communication, and things will fester, pulling that rope apart. There'll be no attraction, physical or mental, no love. And in time, things will erode the bonds, and the marriage will slip right through. Like an burnt edges stick. There we go. But here's the problem. You don't become two people again. You become halves of a whole. And that is a big problem. It's not healthy. When asked if marriage to Nicole Kidman was life-changing, Keith Urban replied this way: "No, absolutely not. It wasn't life-changing. It was life-beginning. Hindsight reinforces the fact that everything I did in life leading up to marrying her was preparation for life starting." Today is a good day to start something. It may be to start paying more attention to your partner, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife. A good day to start talking to your children about the importance of choosing well, or talking to your grandchildren about choosing well. Today could be a good day to understand the love of Jesus and how that can play a significant role in your love for your partner. Start today to improve yourself, whatever stage of life you are enjoying. As the band comes back up, pay attention to the words of the next song and find ways to relate them to your marriage. Are you a rock for your spouse? Is your love unfailing? Learn from Jesus.